Okay, here we are. January 22nd. It's Monday. Whew. Oh, the days just slip on by. Notice we have epidemic sound, instrumental, royalty-free music. Just like in the dentist's office. You know, you hear the music in the background, except this is nicer. I always lead off with about 45 seconds of royalty-free sound, just, you know, when it comes up that Jimmy's coming next. A little sip of my homemade Coca-Cola with SodaStream carbonation, SodaStream style carbonation. I have a 10-pound CO2 cylinder underneath my sink, which comes up through my what used to be the hole for like a soap dispenser, which I unscrewed that off. And I have a nice little tube that comes up through that penetration in the sink area and goes right up through. I have a connection that connects to the to a Norwegian-made device that carbonizes the water instead of a SodaStream with the cylinders, you know, and you got to turn them in. And it's $15, and then you exchange. So yeah, that's nuts. I have all kinds of cylinders for that, but I figured, you know what? Instead of a 60 ounce or whatever that was, I've got a 10-pound cylinder that stands, let's say 18 inches tall by 7 inches in diameter. Aluminum, very nice cylinder, aluminum, pressurized. All right, let me show you some interesting stuff here. I'm going to go right to the end of this. So here's a picture. We're going down a little bit of history here, but this is a picture of the original iPad, the original iPhone, which you see over here, you know, with one gigabyte of memory. And this iPad was 64 gigabytes. See it right there? 64 GB. Designed in California. However, manufactured assembled, I should say, in China. Tianjin, China. April, that's 2010. So, 13 years later, I have iPad Pro, and a MacBook Air 15-inch screen with an M2 chip, late 2023 version. This MacBook is fantastic, powerful. I loaded it with 24 gigabytes of physical memory. It's using 10.2 gigabytes. The app memory is 8.1, round numbers, and the wired memory is 2.1 gigabytes. And what the wired memory means is that the code that's in the operating the computer doesn't move. That code is locked. It doesn't swap in and around. It is wired. My computer's talking to me in the background here. Okay, I get all excited and she starts talking. Okay, so, and look at that. That's one of the original Tesla Model S, like Sam, Model S. Special cocktail party inaugurating that Model S. Pretty looking car. That's what really launched. That is what launched the Tesla, production of very attractive electric cars, as opposed to ugly electric cars that Europe seems to like. It's a shame, VW has been in the electric car business for a long time, and they just don't know what an attractive car looks like. Well, Tesla does. Hey, look at that. I took a picture of Lynn University. There's an L and a U. If you look carefully. That's the championship ring. Look at the diamonds and all that stuff. Pretty fancy stuff. Also in 2009, August of 2009, at 9:59 p.m., it's getting late. I did some product photography, and there's a crab cake. There's a bottle of wine in the background, and a fire in the fireplace. Actually, that's where the pieces go. That's a log-fired device. You put wood in there. Anyway, so here's a beautiful looking crab cake. It's kind of like seared top and bottom. It's got a special, they dust things on top. Good looking, plate. I did product photography for this restaurant. Look at that. Doesn't that look yummy? I took that at 9:10 p.m. It was a long night. I was in there all day, actually. Hey, look at these guys. They're looking at me. This guy here is smiling. Whew, he's got a set of choppers on him, doesn't he? They're in the foundation of Worthing Place in Delray, right on the avenue. And they're working their little brains off. And look at that. There's the developer, William E. Morris. And there's the foundation of Worthing Place. It goes on and on. It's all over the place. It's going to be a mid-rise apartment, I think, housing 217 units. Whew, boy, February. That was 2009. You can see the date up on the top. That's the exact date and time that I took this picture of Bill. I asked him to kind of lean a little bit over so I could get him and the foundation in the same shot. Had lunch with him Tuesday, which is just a few days ago. There we go. FAU touchdown. November 29th, 2008, 6:21 p.m. Look at that. And he's leaning over. He's got the ball, and I can see the ball right there. This guy's got his foot there. He's trying to get that ball out of there any way he can. And look at the quarterback over here with his arms up in a form. Touchdown. Yeah. Nice. Unbelievable shot. There you go. 2008. Fremont. East Industrial Park. And look who's there. A younger Elon Musk. And there's Frantz, the designer of the car. Boy, he did a great job designing that car. So he's in Elon's office. Elon's got an iPad over here. A laptop, and he's got a device there. I don't know whether that's a Mac. And they're talking about whatever they're talking about. Looks like they're looking at the layout of their office. Yep, they're happy. 7:44 a.m. Yep, early in the morning. And look at this. August 4th, 2007. Yeah, he's holding up the first iPhone. The very first iPhone. And look at that. May 6th, 2007. Marilyn is holding up a Canon camera with a unbelievable zoom lens, 35 millimeters to 350 millimeters, 10:1 zoom. My favorite soccer, the lens I use for soccer matches. She's using it to take pictures of the Air and Sea Show 2007. And she really knows how to take a picture with that. This is Gibbs's rules. Never get personally involved on a case. Never get personally involved with a coworker. Number 12. Never, ever involve a lawyer. Always work as a team. If someone thinks they have the upper hand, break it. Okay. Never take anything for granted. And there's no such thing as a coincidence. It just doesn't happen. It's always, January 7th at 10:57 a.m. That's when Gibbs wrote down all his rules on one yellow pad at a meeting or something. I was just looking for where there's no such thing as a... Oh, there it is, rule number 39. There's no such thing as a coincidence. When you're looking at evidence and all of a sudden there's a coincidence. No, that ain't a coincidence. It's a reality. Oh, here's another reality. There's Jimmy, January 21, 2007, at 1:33 p.m. I'm standing on the top of the ladder on a 7-passenger Sabreliner, which we had an interest in. Put new avionics package in there. Back in that day, that was $1 million item. Today it's a $4 million item, I believe. So that was like a rocket. And I was in charge of deciding whether we take the jet or we go regular commercial. And if I could get 3 more people in the jet with me that needed to travel, It was better taking this than it was with the commercial airline. So how about that? At least that's what I had the owner of the company convinced of. No, it was true. All right, look at this. Oh, Sunday, the May 28th edition of the Boca Raton News. FAU digital photo class helps a novice take a perfect picture. Well, what I was helping the novices do is to convert their not so perfect pictures into one that looks like a perfect picture. So the what was her name? Nicole, Nicole, no E on the end. Nicole Jenkins, a staff writer. And she came in and she took pictures of everybody. She wrote the article. And there's Jimmy, there's Marilyn over on the right. You can always see her pretty face. And all the way on the left of this picture is Daniel Wilson, a younger soul, 2006. And today he's like 32, I believe. 32, yeah. There's Marilyn in the middle. She's improving a cat picture. Cat pictures are so popular. And then there's a 2006 version of the computers that the students used in the earth sciences class. They had 25 computers. So I could have a class of 25. There we go. Anyway, that's down memory lane. Look at this this looks like a big bullet. 5.7 times 5.7 millimeters, which is the diameter of the bullet from here to here. And 28 millimeters is the length of the casing. And that sucker pops out of a pistol with a muzzle velocity of 2,350 feet per second. That is supersonic. Yes. This is a favorite picture I took. What's the date of this one? I clipped it. It's like 2006 or 7. I'm standing right in the middle of the street and the motorcycles are going on either side of me. I'm right in this row right here. And I just stepped out in the middle to get this guy in the middle, and then I moved back where I belonged because otherwise this character would ride me over. I had a telephoto lens on, so I was able to have him fill the image, even though he was 20 or 30 feet, maybe 40 feet in front of me. So I had plenty of time to see there's a motorcycle right over here who edged over just a little bit. That was a fun day. That's rolling thunder that goes through the city of Washington, D.C. There's a shot I took of an FAU tennis player. And look at that. I got the ball right on the racket. And you can see the strings are stretched when she was whacking that backhand. She was a strong one. Yep. Oh, my God. Here's a lifestyle picture that I took in, let's see, was that was Palm Beach. I think we drove up to Palm Beach and walked around some of the shops and got, they're getting set up for lunch. Nobody's there yet. There's a picture of a cheerleader at FAU. See the owl. It's just something about that shot I really liked. This right here, see? Yep. It's very nice. And here, March 2003. We're going through memory lane here. Now, I was just picking out some shots just to show you, all this work is digital work. I was a digital guy before everybody decided to be digital people. And I knew they were coming. It was just a matter of time, and Jimmy got there first. And I was a snapping guy. 2006, March 3rd, 6:09 p.m. This is the grand opening party for Palmetto Place in Boca Raton. Beautiful condo project. That's catty corner to the building I'm in right now. There's a picture I took of Apollo in 2006 or so. Look at that. That was the first FAU home game following 9/11. Yeah. There's a picture of a young lady in the FAU marching band. Look at that beautiful, smiling face. Getting ready to toot the flute. Looks like a silver flute, a beautiful silver flute. Marilyn played the flute in her early days. Now there's a picture of the USA soccer. See that on embroidered on the pants, and red and blue. And he's trying to outrace this Italian team. I was on the European tour. I followed this team around for 6 weeks. They were playing all over under 19, right from 12, U12 to U19. And all the teen levels in between, U16, U15, whatever. Trying to see, he's got something Pro Star pants. I believe this is an Italian team. And the U.S. player there. And they were really, I just like that shot because they're both like on top of each other, and it shows the USA logo on the pants. There's another shot I like. This girl's in the goalie. Oops. And you can see United Soccer Academy. International USA. So she's getting ready to kick that ball 50 yards downfield. Just happened to catch her before she whacked it with the right leg. Yeah, nice. I believe she's from Sweden, but she's on the USA soccer team. There's another USA soccer. This girl in blue. You see the logo right there. She was hot stuff. She was in, you can always tell the good players because they're in all the pictures, because that's where all the action was. Since taking a picture of somebody over on the other side that's, standing around watching, you take the picture of the people that got the ball kicking and chasing and all that stuff. There you go. I was writing a book on digital photography and looking down the barrel, and you can see the the grooves that makes the bullets ejected through the chamber. You know, I've got these 9mm ammunition hanging out to give you an example of the size. There you go. That's July 24th through July 26th, 2002. So right here is the guy that hired me, paid me to go along with his teams. You can see the USA team. This is spectators in the big stadium in Sweden, I believe. Yeah. Here's a shot. This kid at number 4, he was hot stuff. He's getting ready to drill that ball right into that grill, into that goalie that's standing there, that Italian team. And it was a goal. Yeah. He had take no prisoners. Look at this. This is June 5th in West Point Military Academy. And guess who's there? Yours truly. There's a younger Jimmy. I was like 17. 77. That was 60 years ago. Can you believe it? 6 years later, I'm still hanging around, crowding 80. I'm not 80, but I'm crowding around it. I'm not 79 either, but I'm crowding around it. Oh boy. There's the pull-ups. This was the president's health and fitness, situation. So we had these, what do you call it? These West Point cadets watching each of us. I don't know. This kid was not on my team. He's from another school. But there's Jimmy. We had to do 21 pull-ups. Chin over the bar, all the way down with extended arms like that. Pull up to chin over the bar. That was my easiest thing. I could do the pull-ups quick and dirty, and then I was done. And the guy looked at me and he says, "That was spectacular. Thank you very much, sir." And then he would point me over to the next station. But anyway, that was at West Point. You can see it up there. It's on the field. There's the barracks, It's all very... There's one guy, he's checking me in. There's another guy, he's got me on the squat jumps, telling me how to do them. Of course, I knew how to do them. I did a bunch of them. There's our little team from East Hills in around the area, Roslyn Heights, New York. So I'm sitting there in my sweats. And then, of course, you get down to your skivvies when you're doing your pull-ups and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that was fun. I was in the top 5 of the New York State. Now, New York State is a big, big state. And to be in the top 5, I think it was like number 3 or 4, I forget. I wasn't 1 or 2. I was like 3 or 4. But I was in the top 5. And I got benefits from that. Scholarship kind of benefits. There's Candlewood Lake in Connecticut. There's Candlewood Lake, where you can see the streets. You see Pine Island there. There's Pine Island. There's Pine Island. There's Pine Island in the middle, little island between the other areas. There was like subdivisions, golf course, over here on the left, on the right, excuse me, the other left. This was not an island because it had a connection. There's Candlewood Isle, Candlewood Knolls, Chimney Point. See, we lived right in this like Indian Trail. The Candlewood Inn, yeah, I remember that. It's a little tiny, little 10-year-old, 9-year-old Indian Trail, Chimney Point. I remember that. Yep. Let's see, we saw that. See, and I lived. See, Roslyn, East Hills. There you go, Roslyn Estates. That was East Hills. Because we were east. And this is like west. They didn't have West Hills, they had Roslyn Estates instead. Anyway, I went to Roslyn High School. That's Roslyn Harbor right there, right in that little, right at the tip of that little inlet. Seacliff, Glen Cove, yeah. Locust Valley. My parents played golf with all these Glen Cove Country Club. There was like golf everywhere. So Oyster Bay is over here. That's where I used to drive over there in Oyster Bay to get all my little electronic parts. Okay, here we go. All right. Monday, January 22nd. This is all the recent polling results. Now, what we're doing is we're tracking the Boston Globe Suffolk. You have a lot of presidential primaries, but the Suffolk, the union between Suffolk and Boston Globe has a consistent polling method. So as of Monday, we're just checking everybody, last night because Trump 57, Haley 38. The margin of victory, if it was election day today, but it's not. It's tomorrow. But when you're 19 points up, she's talking like a two-man race, she's like at the end of the race. She don't seem to understand. Anyway, here's Trump 50 and Haley 59. So Sunday, this is the CNN poll, which is like a Democratic polling outfit. So you can see DeSantis is still, like they're behind. It was on the page, but Trump has been plus 18 or 19 all the way through. You see New Hampshire up here in the top. Trump 52, Haley 34, DeSantis 8. DeSantis went up a couple points and he dropped out. All righty. So, but, that's polling for you. So Trump is probably going to get 57 or 58% of the vote, which is like crazy strong. Here's Saturday. You see the Suffolk Boston Globe again. The Saturday results. Trump 53, Haley 36. He has a 17-point margin of victory. You go up to Sunday. The Suffolk Boston Globe. Trump 55, Haley 36. He's up by 19. So he's going to be up somewhere between 17 and 19 points. Likely. Because it's been coming in constantly at 17, 18, or 19 points. And he has a very strong, enthusiastic electorate. So, I mean, the networks, they're all hovering around, Hallie, because they can get to her. She'll talk to anybody because she figures, Trump, he gets on stage and he talks to 10,000 people at a time. Hallie's trying to get some traction to have a good result out of here, but it doesn't look like she can handle the fact that he used to be president. And people say, you know what? He's been president. This guy knows how to do it. He got unelected, but if he gets elected, he goes back in the saddle. He knows exactly what to do. He knows where all the bodies are buried. She goes in there, she's going to be on training pants for 18 months. Trump gets in there, he'll be burning ready to go. Because the time between the election and the inauguration, which is, like 6 or 7 weeks, he'll be getting all his people together and, assuming he's victorious, of course. Okay. We're looking at some possible investments where you can make 7.5% yield. Here's another one you're going to make 9% yield. Energy Transfer is the name of the company. It talks about the partnership, but doesn't talk about what they do. It probably has something to do with petroleum products and the movement of petroleum products. But they don't actually talk about that in these articles. If you invested $135,000 in this ultra-high yield dividend stock, you could get $10,000 worth of passive income into your portfolio. Nothing bad about that. This is an expert to show how easy it is to tamper with the Georgia voting equipment. And these things are in trial right now. Trying to, everyone's huddling around this voting machine in the federal courtroom. A small crowd is watching as an expert witness, Alex Halderman, demonstrated how someone could meddle with the Georgia election machine within a few seconds. 8 days of trial, and attorneys for the liberal-leaning Georgia voters and activists who are plaintiffs in the case have tried to convince the district judge that she should order the state to prohibit further use of the voting touchscreen machines. As the election proceeds, voters would instead fill out paper ballots by hand. Exactly. Because it's too easy for people to break into these machines and to change the voting, per machine. It's a machine, there's thousands of ballots that go through one machine. So if you've got one of these hackers in every polling station, in a state, so you show them how to abuse the tallies. And you only need one guy in each voting. I worked in one of those voting stations in Palm Beach County in Florida. And I noticed, the sticks, and you'd pull this and do that. And, you had keys to open up the sensitive area where voters don't diddle. And I could see You know, people substituting their drive for that drive, you know, and putting it in the bag where they add them all up. You know, it's, and it always worried me. That's what that's all about. There's Apple's Pro 15 Max with a 5x digital zoom, which I happen to have one of those right here. That's keeping track of my time. And I've been chit-chatting here for 41 minutes and 26 seconds. Yep. So, they're talking about he's taking off the case. He's going naked with his phone. I have a case on mine, but the camera parts are fully protected, and you can see right here it like protrudes through the case. There's an opening where all three cameras and the ultrasonic and the photo flash diode are right there, just like you can see there. There's a laser camera right here. This shaded area you can barely see. It looks pink. It's actually dark. We've all got one. Let me turn off this light. Yeah, you see that? That dark, smaller, right there. That's a laser camera. It shoots out an array of laser light, invisible laser light. So augmented reality, you know, is if you take like a picture of your room, it could be video or still, and then you go to the furniture store, you can line up a particular couch to see if it fits in the living room area that you're hoping to have that couch. It's really quite amazing. I did that in my living room, but not for a couch, but for a big screen TV, which I can see right over there. You can't see it with this camera because it's aiming in the opposite direction. But I used the laser imagery, and I stood 14 feet back from the wall that was blank, and I superimposed on it an 85-inch screen TV to see how much that would fill up the wall. And it's like a perfect fit. I have it suspended with equipment that screwed into the wall. And the top edge of the screen is exactly 14 inches below the crown molding on the ceiling. And that gave the perfect height above the piece of furniture we have underneath the camera, the phone, the TV. Anyway, but I used that laser technology to fit that sucker in there, to give me a little verification that the TV would fit. It cost me $1,800 for the TV, I believe, and $200 to install it. So total was, like $2,100 with tax. All right, apparently, the reason why I have this picture here is apparently there's a whole bunch of people overdosing Ozempic. I'm not too sure why. The poison control centers in Virginia are reporting that that people are jumping right into high doses of Ozempic. Yeah, it's like taking too many pills or something. But there's the Ozempic pen. And this is a 2 milligram dosage. The doses that people get when they start off is like 0.25 and 0.5 milligrams, 0.5 milligrams. Subcutaneous injection under the skin into the fatty tissue. And you do it once a week. This is 2 milligram, so that's 4 times. So you can step it up so you increase your dosages gradually. It's a marvelous product to modify your blood sugar levels. You don't get this. It compresses the peaks, and it keeps your glucose level up, so it doesn't go below 70, and it doesn't go above 200. Stays right in that range. With just a modicum of portion control on your eating. The real purpose in the medicine that it was originally engineered for was so that heart patients would be with this by using Ozempic, taking milligram dosages of Ozempic every week, once a week injection, and you do it yourself. It's easy to do. It's Novo Nordisk designed this pen, and you see there's a number there. It's 0. Well, at the top of this pen, you turn it to 2 clicks, and then you push the button on the top, and a little bit of Ozempic squeaks out of the needle on this end once you pull this cover off. Okay, I have it. It's the same engineered pen that I use when I do insulin treatment. Also engineered by Novo Nordisk. Okay, and so then you turn it. You turn this so that primes the needle, and then you turn this so it comes off one, and the original, the initial pens that should be prescribed, you turn it up to 0.125 milligrams, and you give yourself an injection. Okay. After a couple of weeks of that, then you go to 0.5. That's it. So you go to 0.25 to 0.5. I'm sorry. I think I said that wrong. It's 0.25, a quarter of a milligram, to a half a milligram. So for 2 injections, you do 0.25 0.25, which is half of 0.5. And then 2 weeks later, on your third week, then you go to 0.5. That's a half a milligram. Now this pen is in a slightly different colored box because the original pens, the initial pens, are in like a red box. When you get up to the point where you're taking 2 milligram increments, so you got 2, 4, 6, 8, in theory you're taking an injection once a week, then it's good for a month worth of 2 milligram injections. So in the same 3 milliliter cartridge that's pre-filled in the pen, the fluid that's in this pen is more concentrated than the fluid that would be in the early prescription holders of Ozempic in the red box. And the label is red instead of this yellowy, orangey looking color. Here, mustard color, I guess, is what you'd say. There you go. So the reason why I'm familiar with the pen is because I've been doing my own insulin glucose monitoring, management, I should say, and Novo Nordisk, which is the pen I wanted to use. So I told my doctor, I said, I want that pen when you prescribe insulin. So rather than taking pills, I decided, you're going to tell me to take, a lot of metformin. And I don't want to take a lot of metformin. I'd rather just use insulin. I take 4.5. I inject myself with 4.5 milligrams. 4.5 units. You have to use the word units when you're talking about insulin. So I take 4.5 units of insulin, before a meal, like 10, 20 minutes before a meal. So that way the insulin starts to, get distributed into the bloodstream. It takes 20 or 30 minutes because you're giving yourself a little shot in the stomach, in the fatty tissues around the stomach. Or it could be in the fatty tissues around a leg, wherever you got convenient fat, then you can stick and it's a little tiny short needle, it's only, 4 millimeters. So, it's 25 millimeters in an inch. So it's like a 1/4 inch, and around a 1/4 of an inch. So the length of the needle is really small. So, you just take the pen and stick it right in there. You don't have to worry about getting too far because the needle's only a 1/4 inch long. And it's gauge 32. You see here, G32 gauge, which is the Novo Fine Plus needle is a needle that, you can just, you can stick it in, with some, you just stick it in. You pound it in there a little bit, just a little bit. You don't want to be too brutal with it, but if you just push it in right away. I practiced when I was in pre-med school. They had us practicing on an orange. The skin of an orange simulates the skin of the human being. So it shows you how to, just throw the needle into the skin. And the patient will almost feel nothing. You can distract the patient and say, okay, when I say 1, 2, 3, you breathe in. Take a deep breath. When you take a deep breath, pound that needle in there. And the patient will say, oh, I didn't even know you did it yet. It's really, that easy. So when you're doing it yourself, the same thing. Just pound it on in there. Just push it on in. Don't be shy. See here, they put 4 needles in there because every time you use a needle, you throw it away. And then you push in another one when you're ready to take your second shot. So it has 4 needles, 1 pen, 2 milligram increments only. Same company that makes my pen and the insert cartridges. The cartridge fits in here, but it's not user replaceable for some reason. I guess they just don't have it coded, where you can change. I mean, it has the 3 millimeter insert, but you can't put it in yourself. In other words, Novo Nordisk inserts them in their factory. And then they seal them up and then they put it in a box. And the box gets refrigerated, and that's how they distribute the Ozempic. Semaglutide. Semaglutide. That is the chemistry. Semaglutide is what they call it. But they branded it Ozempic. And the primary purpose of this was developed, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. For heart patients, it'll prevent stroke. It'll help prevent heart attack, primarily. So that's important. When you can prevent heart patients from having strokes or heart attacks or heart failure, all 3 of those get seriously reduced if you take this medication. And after a couple of years of that, it was found out that, I'll be god darn, look at what it's doing to managing blood sugar. The blood sugar levels of these patients has really flattened out so that they're like always in the green zone. And, you'll have much less need for metformin or insulin injections. Metformin is a tablet that you can take, or you do insulin injections. So I chose insulin injections. I don't know. I read some articles about metformin, how it might, kidney damage and all that stuff. So I figured, let me just do insulin. Your body produces insulin, so this is the same chemistry. I'm just giving, my pancreas a little rest so that even though maybe it needs a little help when the sugar levels goes up, so you take the insulin, it's no big deal. So I've been doing that for over a year now, probably 2 years. So I know how to inject myself without hurting myself. Yeah, I mean, there are millions of people doing it, so it's not like I'm unique. But it's really no big deal. They've made it very convenient. They made the needles super fine. So, you can bend them over really easily. You bend them over, you need another one. So the needle is extremely, it's amazing that it is so thin, and yet there's a hole in the middle of it so that, something can squirt out of it. It's really quite amazing, to be in the needle factory business. This needle is really super fine. It's 32 gauge is the thinnest needle I've seen. I read that they have a 33 gauge, but I haven't seen any. And the Novo Fine Plus is where the bottom, where the needle comes out of, is flat, like that. Here's the needle, and it's perfectly flat. Whereas other needles have a little hump where the needle is to give the needle support, which makes no sense. So this way you just push that needle all the way to the point where the flat part of the needle comes, the casing that holds the needle goes right against your skin. So you can't push it in anymore because that's the end. So that way, when you have a 4 millimeter needle or a 5 millimeter needle, it goes all the way to the skin and won't get in any further. So it won't damage any internal organs, or it won't be intramuscular, because insulin is subcutaneous, which is just under the skin, which cutaneous has to do with your skin. So subcutaneous means just under the skin. And what's under the skin? Fat. And maybe a very thin layer of fat, but there's a little fat there. Everybody has a little bit of fat. At least, 3 millimeters of fat, 2.5 millimeters. Your skin is 1.5 millimeters. So when you push the needle in, you got let's just say 2 millimeters of skin, and then you go 2 millimeters into the fat. So that makes up the 4 millimeters, the 1/4 inch. So you actually don't have an 1/8 inch of skin. It's, in the 30 seconds. I would say 1.25 millimeters, a thousandth of a meter. All right, so that's the story with the Ozempic. I go here. So there's some contradictions if you have problems with the semaglutide dose. Is inflammation of the pancreas, pancreatitis, vomiting, abdominal pain, dehydration. That's what happens if you take too much Ozempic. Well, any drug can be serious. Experts noted that taking too much semaglutide is rarely fatal. You'd have to have some pretty serious allergic reaction to the chemistry itself, which you probably already know. There are other diabetes medications, like insulin, that are a lot more dangerous, because if you take too much insulin, your blood sugar drops to, and your blood doesn't have any sugar in there to service your organs, and guess what? You drop dead. You go to sleep and you don't wake up, that kind of thing. So you don't want to do that. If people jump, right into high dose, they will have more initial negative side effects. Well, duh. If the first sip of coffee, you drink 9 cups of coffee, it's probably going to, you'll be on high speed. Yeah. So, like anything, if you have too much of it, no matter whether you're allergic or not, it's not good for you. Okay. But there's a rash of people overdosing on Ozempic. Not Jimmy, that's for sure. Oops. Interesting. I touched the pen that went right to Google. There you go. See, here's the point. There you go. Ozempic provides powerful A1C reduction. So you have your doctor, healthcare professional, because, you could be dealing with a high-level registered nurse that has prescription capabilities. and she could prescribe this for you. But the side effects, potential side effects: changes in vision, low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, kidney problems, kidney failure, serious allergic reactions is very unlikely. But if you do have an adverse drug reaction, an ADR, it would show up in your face, your lips, your tongue, throat, have problems breathing, you get dizzy, you know. If you don't have an ADR using Ozempic, you just, you get the protection of this. This actually was designed for serious heart patients. You want to live longer? You know, after you've had a heart attack, you take Ozempic because it helps prevent further heart failure, you know, or heart attacks, or complications of a heart attack. Yeah, I'm really very excited about Ozempic. And then they also found out, oh my God, look what's happening to, I have Ozempic patients, and look how their blood sugar has, you know, straightened out. They almost hardly need to take insulin anymore, but keep your insulin. Don't give it away. Keep that pen in the same container as you have your Ozempic pen. So in case you have a big bowl of rice, you know, I'm a insulin patient, so I take insulin, you know, 4.5 milligrams 3 times a day. No, it's 4.5 units. The pen I have goes up to 16 units. Well, I'm a little baby in the insulin business, which is a good thing. You know, my pancreas is not conked out entirely. It just needs a little help, a little helping hand. So, you know, 4 units to 5 units, 4.5 units is pretty much what I do 2 or 3 times a day. If I decide to go down to the local Chinese restaurant downstairs, Lemongrass, they call it. It's on the ground floor of my building, you know, to the south corner. The north corner is Chops, a fine steakhouse, a super fine steakhouse. Chops Lobster Bar, they call it. Fine seafood and fine beef. It's the finest that there is, actually. They even have Kobe beef, which, that's too fine. I mean, that's like 4 times more expensive than an already expensive. You know, you want a 12-ounce fillet? Pew, $80. Kobe beef? Try $180. So I'll just stick with good old beef, American beef. Anyway, so it's the potatoes that's a killer. I love mashed potatoes. So, you know, if I'm going to go have a steak dinner, I'll give myself a little 5-unit injection of insulin. There's only one strength of insulin, and that is, but you could take more units of it. You know, my pen goes up to 16 units. I'm like 4. I'm like 1/4 of the total capacity of each injection. So, but if I'm going to go down and have my favorite, they had the bento box, and I always ask for stir fry scallops, stir fried rice, and the protein I want is scallops. No broccoli, no carrots. You can have, green peas. Throw in a lot of green peas. Onions, yes. Sauteed onions. It can be in there, in the stir-fried rice, along with the scallops. And that's my favorite cookie box. It's 1:30 p.m. right now. So I will not go down, I don't think, to lemongrass today. But watch out for tomorrow. But, you just have to take that shot of insulin. And that'll control the my insulin level. But apparently, if you are taking Ozempic, it is extremely powerful to reduce your A1C, which that's quite good news for people that photos. Go back to photos. There we go. I got that because of the new this Wegovy. That's someone else that's delivering the same chemical. This may be a European thing, but it's the same chemistry, just a different pen. There we go. Wegovy. It's amazing. You can just touch on the writings of a picture in the Apple software and look it up. Wegovy. Let's go. Let's see what it is. What is the most important information I should know about Wegovy? Well, possible thyroid tumors. Let's see what else it says. You have trouble with your pancreas. Possible side effects. Same side effects. All right. Let's go back to photos. There we go. I can see it's written in different languages. Let's look up this here. The injection. Let's go to Wikipedia. It's amazing, isn't it? This is written in German. Yeah, so apparently the European folks that's what this Wegovy is apparently the target audience. Let's look it up. See what this says. Amazing, isn't it? Oops. Let's see if I can get to. You can read along with me. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. Ozempic. A whole bunch of pens, depending on what your injection level is. All right. Well, I think I've spent enough time on Ozempic, and Wegovy. Overdose calls have spiked. So apparently, there are doctors that are prescribing Wegovy instead of Ozempic for some reason. It's the same semaglutide. See right there? Semaglutide. That is the chemistry that is in Ozempic and Wegovy. Michelle Young, a soldier in the U.S. Army and fitness and travel influencer, died a few days after her daughter's 12th birthday on January 20th. She was a staff sergeant. She had taken her own life at the age of 34. There's a current picture of her. And she has killed herself. How disgusting is that? Look at that picture. Look at the background. You know, oh boy. Whew. Michelle Young, U.S. Army veteran and fitness influencer. Dead at 34. That's... what a shame. All right. Ron DeSantis launched his White House run by bashing Disney. Not a good move. And he ended up having to pull out of the race Saturday, I guess it was. He has his full support behind Trump. DeSantis is like a Trump without all the legal stuff. But Trump will get through the legal stuff. He was a past president, and he may get back in. It's happened one time before. And we'll just stop with that. You know, and we'll... wow, look at all those pictures. 81,303 photos. You can see in the bottom there. 379 videos. Just synced with the iCloud. So I got them in the iCloud, and I got them on my iPad. I got them on this iPad too, and it's also in my iPhone. I got 81,000 pictures. Can you imagine? That'd be a lot of pictures. So when I get my iPhone, I get it with a gigabyte of physical memory, which is enough to keep the catalogs for all those, pictures. Yeah. So, with that, I've been on air for an hour and 19 minutes. Wow, that's long. So I'm going to finish up and say, you all have a great afternoon. I've occupied most of your lunchtime. We'll give you, another 20 seconds of Ozempic, and I'll see you